Can I just thank Dave today for his wonderful speech, for Steve's wonderful speech,
Yay.
well done, Steve. And of course the lovely Jill over there for a lovely service. Yay. And the day that Beth will play, of course.
It takes a strong and intelligent man to realise his dreams and achieve his goals in life and love. A man that is not afraid to live life to the full and embrace what is truly important. That's enough about us three. We're here to talk about the really
I think you'll all agree it's been a truly beautiful day. It's been a great pleasure to be part of it. Spending it with a lot of close friends and family of the bride and groom has been a great pleasure also. It's very clear how in love the happy people are, especially after today's ceremony. And we take great pleasure in being here, obviously. Also an amazing venue for the wedding, I hope you'll all agree. Yeah. And for some maybe a bit too hot, the weather, but glad it's not raining anyway.
Anyway, we need to concentrate on the matter in hand. Us three. If for those of you that don't know me, my name's Simon, and I've had the pleasure of living on the same street as Dave for the last 20 years, growing up playing football in the street. So that is me.
My name is Lewis. I've lived in the same street as Dave for the last 20 years or so, and unfortunately I was his next door neighbour for that period.
My name's Dave, but most of you will probably know me as Fish. Don't ask about that story, that's probably better for a different day. But it does work better in our group of friends not having 2 days. And I, fortunately, haven't had the hindrance of living in Sandon Road.
Before we say any more, I'd just like to personally, from the three of us, like to thank the mother and father of the bride, which is Alison and Steve, and the mother and father of the groom, which is Paul and Lynn. I think we can all say that today has been a truly brilliant event, wonderful event, and without them it wouldn't have been possible. And I think you can all say, gentlemen, that the two mothers look absolutely gorgeous today. Really well done.
As you can tell, Dave has never been shy about making big decisions in his life. Not going to university, moving in with Abby, supporting West Brom, and obviously the biggest choice of all, only choosing one best man. Oh, I almost forgot asking Abby to marry him. Big decision maybe as well.
For all of us, being Dave's best men is such an honour. We've grew up, possibly in our later teenage years, got closer and closer, had some memorable occasions. Just hoping that doesn't end now the old ball and chain has for me, being asked to be one of Dave's best men on a personal note is such an honour. Until I realised I was sharing with these two people here. Seriously, growing up alongside Dave has been such a great help. Been a really close friend for me, and personally, through the last 2 years of my life, have been really tough. Dave's been really helpful and supportive, so I'd like to thank him a lot. Helping him on the road to eternal happiness.
Yeah.
Been really good.
As me and Dave only really became closer friends after school, even though we were in the same school year at school, but we didn't really get on then. It became a bit of a surprise that he asked me to be his best man, even if he did do it over Facebook. Probably. So I just hope that we have repaid some faith in him, and we've helped him today on this very proud day for him.
For me personally, being the only child out of these three, when Dave came up to me and asked me to be his best man, for me it was a great honour and a privilege. But for me, Dave, being an only child, has always been someone like me as a big brother, someone I can always turn to for advice, and over the years been for someone who's been there for me in times of need. When he did ask me to represent him, even though it was after a cricket game on a Wednesday night, turned up at his house in cricket whites, not knowing what was going on. For him to turn up, give me a beer and ask me to be his best man, I was speechless. But for me, this is honestly probably the proudest day of my life. Probably Dave's proudest day, probably not if the Albion reached the Champions League final. But obviously for me personally, it'd be a moment I'll remember for the rest of my life and something I will always cherish.
Unlike Steve, traditionally, we have to embarrass Dave. I'm going to fill you in on Dave's childhood. Fortunately, the lovely Mrs. Lynn Benton was my childminder for my primary school and secondary school years. So I had the pleasure of spending every night after school with Dave. Playing computer games or playing football or cricket out in the street. Now, when me and Dave were younger, we used to like playing snooker and pool. Now, if you can imagine, in Dave's garage, my garage as well, we've got a little snooker table. Me and Dave thought it'd be quite good to dress up like snooker players in hands. So we went back home. Well, I went back to mine, met at Dave's. Me, you can imagine wearing black shiny shoes, nice little black trousers, ties, occasional dicky bow, and some beautiful choice waistcoats. And we thought we were rather cool, obviously. Didn't quite work.
You were only 17 at the time, as well.
I remember it well.
Also, as youngsters, thanks to Paul's love of Formula 1 actually, doing a lot of shooting, me and Dave quite enjoyed the Formula 1 as well. Now, back in the day, the yellow Kessler go-karts, I don't know if you remember them, me and Dave thought it'd be quite fun to try and act out being Formula 1 drivers around the streets. Often had races and played garages and etc. But because of Paul being a steward, he often had racing car helmets in the garage. So what me and Dave decided to do one day, if my memory serves me right, we put on the helmets, put on our best protective gear. Also, I remember having a roll of wallpaper which we put around the go-kart to make it a bit more secure. And we would often race around the street and make absolute fools of ourselves, annoying all the neighbours because they were quite noisy. But a lot of it was trying to be our heroes as we was younger. Anyway, that's enough of David's childhood. And the real reason we are here today, the beautiful, the stunning Miss Abigail Benton. And gentlemen, today she truly is looking lovely as always. I'd just like to say what a lovely young lady she is.
Our relationship with Abby probably didn't get off on the best foot. As Dave mentioned earlier, we were dragged along to Lloyd's Bar, as you can imagine, to meet Abby. And we were ditched, quite frankly, by Dave. We were on our own. We didn't particularly want to go anyway, so we were dragged along. We took our displeasure at this, and we started throwing boxes of straws at Abby, over and over, until there was no more straws left. And we just kept doing this, and I don't think that the happy couple liked this too much, but we were very annoyed that Dave had ditched us. So I'm not too sure that was the best foot, but we've got along a little better since.
But on a pleasant note, Abby has been a breath of fresh air for Dave. And for me, the last week leading up, and even today, I've never seen Dave look so excited, so happy, and so in love, which you have got to say. And it's really been great to see. Since Abby and Dave moved in together, for us three in particular, their house has become our house. We often just rock up without invitation. I'm getting to that. Also, we started a theme, the weekly shopping list that we do leave for Abby, which often we've got to get in our treats when we do arrive. But it's normally chocolate, biscuits, shortbread biscuit, which is quite a favourite, but they often run out, so we're not happy with that. But Abby has been duly obliging in our request, so can we thank Abby for our shopping list?
We all knew Abby was the one for Dave also when she agreed a few months back to enjoy cold, windy, rainy afternoons at the Hawthorns with Dave when he bought her a half-season ticket, which is now a full-season ticket. We also knew Abby was the one for Dave when she agreed to cater for 22 moaning, aging, unappreciated, sweaty men at my cricket club, which I am, and making, I've got to say, the best teas in the league, along with her wonderful mum, Alison. She has been an absolute breath of fresh air, and effectively that makes them Mr. and Mrs. Benton of the Lye CC. Without them, Lye would be absolutely nothing, and the same with us. And from the short time I've known Abby, for me personally, I know I'm talking for these as well, she has been an absolute breath of fresh air. She's always been brilliant with me. Every time I've spoke to her, she's been so kind and wonderful. And all we can do is wish Dave and Abby the best for the future, which we all can. And just like to say, for me personally, it's been an absolute honour, and I'm so proud that I can say that you are now part of our family.
Thank the lovely, beautiful bridesmaids Shelley, Amy, Frankie, and the adorable Olivia. And the two page boys, Jack and Thomas, for today, for helping Abby in this special day. Now, we've dragged on and on and on and on and on, so we're going to stop there. I can appreciate we have dragged on, and the jokes haven't been brilliant, you've listened to us, you're bored, but quite frankly, we need to know the football scores. So, that is us. And one last thing to say. Marriage is not about finding a person you can live with, it's about finding the person you can't live without. And I think Dave and Abby have truly found that in each other.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that just leaves one thing. Can we please all be upstanding? Can we raise a glass to Mr. and Mrs. David Paul Benson, and wish them every happiness for the future. Dave and Abby.